What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here, and I'm recording this video just minutes after Arsenal crashed out of the FA Cup 4-0 on aggregate to Newcastle, losing tonight 2-0, of course, at St. James's Park. And it was an awful night again, man. We just can't seem to shake that St. James's vibe off. And even tactically, we just kind of fall into the same trap over and over. And it's really frustrating. The first thing I got to say is it's just wild how quickly football moves, after the incredible high that we were on the past 3 days following our demolition of City. It feels like we've been brought back down to reality. Now, obviously, the Carabao Cup isn't the make or break, but this was definitely the clearest route to silverware this season for us. So it does hurt a lot. And I guess just going through the starting 11, I think we went with the right 11. I chose Ethan Nwaneri to start, and I would have liked to see him start, to be fair. But, after what we did against City, you weren't really going to change anything, were you? But yeah, from the beginning of the game, man, we looked so shaky. We just didn't seem up for it. And we were lucky not to concede early. Of course, Isak breaks away and scores, but he's offside. And Martin Odegaard, man, I don't know what is up with him in front of goal, but if you were to tell someone that he has the record for most non-penalty goals in the Premier League for a midfielder, the record for it, they would have a hard time believing you. And he had a really big chance to cut the deficit in half pretty early on his right foot, and he just didn't even put it on target. It's pretty inexcusable, to be honest. He's always been an extremely left foot dependent player. He doesn't really have a weak foot. But even then, just, put your foot through it. And he did that. He got decent contact on it, but he was just so focused on getting a clean hit that he forgot about aiming it. And of course, it's one of the oldest sayings in football. You pay for your missed chances. And Newcastle on the break, Isak hits the post, and Jacob Murphy's fortunate that it falls to him and he taps it away, taps it into an open goal. I mean, it's not a tap in, but it's a pretty easy finish. So we're down 1-0. But there isn't really, and there are no positives from this game, really, at all. Gabriel Martinelli comes off injured. And it just, my first thought obviously was our January transfer window. I wasn't surprised that Martinelli got injured. Seems like he has a hamstring injury, and that could keep him out for anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, right? But yeah, when you continue to have the same few players available and you're playing so many games as any top team is at this point of the season, you're more prone to those injuries. And I look at the board, a little bit Arteta, but it's definitely more so the board. He made it clear that he wanted to bring in another player or two this past January. But yeah, man, 1-0 down at half, and then, immediately we concede a second. David Raya plays the ball out to Declan Rice, playing from the back, but Rice was being pressured. Newcastle was pressing really high. So that's on Raya, not Declan Rice. You can't give him a hospital ball like that. You're putting him under so much pressure. And yeah, they immediately score. And that was it, done and dusted. We weren't going to score 4 goals. Even scoring 3 before that seemed very unlikely anyways. But just a really awful game. And we just continued to fall into the same trap against Newcastle, and it's kind of bizarre, honestly. Now, I do think the context is a little different tonight, of course, because we were down 2-0 already. And so, because we were down 2-0, we had to play more aggressively. We had to be playing, further up the pitch, and then we were even more susceptible to counterattacks from Newcastle, right? But that also just goes to show that we screwed it in the first leg, right? If we weren't down 2-0 from the home leg, we could have been a little bit more, cautious in this game. But that wasn't the case. And so we had to go for it, and we paid for it. So look, I'm so proud of these players. for just in general, but especially after the Sunday, obviously. And I still just I'm disappointed in our board. I don't, yes, our players were bad tonight, but I more so just look at their fatigue. Um, I mean, yes, we did what we did to City on Sunday, so fatigue might feel like a little bit of a cop out, right? But still, Newcastle is so desperate for a trophy, haven't won a trophy in 70 years or so, and yeah, we know how desperately they want it, and we just weren't up for it, and so we got what we deserved. I'm so grateful that we now have the break coming up because we need to recover. We need to get out of this miserable London weather for a little bit and yeah, galvanize ourselves because there's still the Premier League and the Champions League. I think we have a better chance of winning the Champions League than the Premier League. um, but yeah, man, it just hurts. So back to reality. Doesn't change how incredible Sunday's win was. That was still massive. And yeah, we should always hold on to that this season. It's not a trophy, but it's something to really, look towards as a marker for how far this club has come. But, I do worry about Arsenal just kind of being the Arsenal of old where we just rest on what we have and nothing, this summer can be nothing short of blockbuster. Within the first 3 weeks of the summer transfer window, we have to go crazy. There's no excuses at this point whatsoever. We have to go crazy. So, anyways, I'll be back with you at some point in the next few days because we don't have a game coming up. So, I'll look for some interesting topics to talk about that aren't all negative. But until then, come on, you Gunners. Peace, everybody.